So traders, let's get into a market update for this week right now. Continued volatility in the stock market, and that's what we're going to probably see for another few more months from now. So you want to be very, very, very cautious around and patience around the actual stock market. Also going to be showing what's happening with gold and silver right now. The big thing about gold and silver, guys, is even though we're getting a short-term pullback here, I see so much more upside when it comes to gold and silver. And then what I want to do is I want to finish off with something that I think is going to really, really help you when it comes to your trading. Something that I try to do most days before I actually look at the markets. That puts me into a good sort of frame in mind to make good decisions in the market. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, so let's actually get straight into the market update now. Looking at the actual stock market right now, guys, the Dow Jones. One of the really big things here is that we're probably going to continue seeing a lot of volatility, okay? So if you're in the camp of this thing's going to crash, or if you're in the camp that this thing's got to go for another big move because, like, you know, there's people out there that say this thing's in a melt up phase and so on and so forth. You know, they could be wrong, they could be right. You know what I mean? So the big thing that I'm seeing right now is I don't think either of them are going to be right. I don't think we're going to see a really big crash. Now, technical term, guys, what is an actual crash? What is? I want you to really put this in your mind because we think about this, right? Like, I better get in now before we start the crash. Now, what is an actual crash? What was 2008 stock market crash? Think about it, right? Think about this from a logical point of view. What was 2008 stock market crash? That's 365 days, right? But what do we think in our mind? Big down bar, right? Oh, I better get in now before we see that big red down candle and it's going to be all over. And I'm sure you guys who have been there and trying to get in early, right? It just never works, right? Just never works. So especially right now when it comes to the indices anyway, it requires an understanding of where we are in the phases of things. And as you guys have seen in the past, and if you haven't, then we go through phases, right? We go through a bull market and then we go a bull phase and then we go through a bit of a volatile phase, right? A pullback phase and so on and so forth. And we end up getting something like this, right? And this is what we're going through right now. We're going through a bit of a gyration phase. And if we have a look at my boxes here, these are my, maybe call it like a timing box. It's a rough gauge. It's not an exact science. I draw these boxes in. And the reason why I draw these boxes in, because it just gives you a rough gauge of how much of a sideways or a slight down movement would we expect before starting to see that next leg up. And as you can see, that we actually had to around about August, right? So you got August down the bottom here. So around about August is probably from now through to then, especially even especially on the indices, right? Like especially like the Dow Jones, we're probably likely to be getting a lot of volatility through here. So I don't think the stock market is going to go through another big bull move here. The stock market needs time to refuel, right? It needs time to refuel. We've had a big move. And the way that the market really works, the way I think about the stock market here is that it's like an energy source, right? Whenever we have a really big move like this, the market is, the market's using a lot of energy, right? It's using a lot, buying it and buying it and buying it and buying it. And then suddenly when there's like, all right, let's cool off for a bit now. Let's actually relax a bit. And then you get these pullbacks. And then you start to get these sort of, I just want to relax for a while. And I've been going for like 6 months. Man, 6 months straight I've been going for. Man, I think I need a month or two just to relax and reset, reframe, get ready to go again, get my mind right. And then bam, we get going again, right? And now and that's the way that I think about when it comes to the stock market. And it's one of the reasons why it's this type of pattern here that whenever I'm personally trading, it's the pattern that I'm always looking for. And guess what? It's when we get these big up moves and then we get these moves here. Guess what I'm looking for? I'm looking for that next leg up, right? Because we had a very strong bull move through here. And if we get this sideways movement through here, there's going to come a point in time where we're going to start to see what? We're going to start to see this thing kick up and then start to go for another bull move. It's essentially one of the patterns, what I call the L-shaped pattern, right? It's a very, 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 very simple pattern. And it doesn't come around that often, guys. But when it does, you'll be able to start to see, you'll be able to start to, and that's the way that I personally like to trade anyway myself. Like I do trade some other style of trades, but let me just show you this here. So especially when you get like a beautiful, when you get like a beautiful like L-shaped pattern, guys, it's probably one of the best trading patterns out there. But it also requires focus because it doesn't come around that often. That's the reason why, like for my personal trading, guys, I have scans that scan the entire stock market, looking for these types of patterns here. So because there's a lot of opportunity here, right? So if I look at say look at this back here, right? Whenever you get, look at this here, right? So you have see how we had the straight up and then we had that sideways movement. Look at that big move followed afterwards. Whenever we get that beautiful, beautiful sort of L-shaped pattern there, there's a very, 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 very big high probability we're going to see a big move like this here, right? Down, 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 down. What inevitably happened, right? We've got a down period through here, and inevitably what happened? We went through what? A bit of a sideways / what we call pullback phase. But notice here, the pullback was more like an L shape. See over there? So you got the L shape like this. That's like an L shape. Or sometimes you get that and you get like just a slight little up move, right? What you don't want to see is you don't want to see something like this and then something like that. That's called V bottoms or V, right? This is the selling leg and this is the buying leg. They're both as strong as each other, right? No one's winning out of that match. And so whenever I'm looking at the markets, I'm trying to say, okay, this is the buying leg. This is the selling leg. I can see clearly the buyers are much stronger in this phase here. And then generally what happens is when we get that, we generally get the buyers inevitably take control again and we go through here. Same thing here. Selling leg. This is the buying leg. Right? Look at the buyers. The buyers try to come in, but guess what? They're very weak, right? So when the buyers are very, 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 very weak and we've had a strong selling leg before, then inevitably what happens? The sellers come back in and the sellers take it for another move down. So it's one of the most, to me, and as you can see, right, I'm not even using moving averages on this chart. Now, with my personal trading, guys, and again, that actually, if you go to Johns, JOHNS, freetrading.com, I've actually got my webinar replay that I've actually got up there. You can actually learn, the entire webinar talks about my trading strategy, more about my backstory and stuff like that as well too. So if you really do need help with maybe understanding this pattern a bit more and maybe start to add some rules, then go to johnsfreetraining.com, or I think it's that second link in the description there, guys. Or if you just need some help, then grab that free trading course, that link in the description there. I think it's the first link in the description there. And in that free trading course, guys, I walk through the 4 different phases. Phase number 1 is about the biggest mistakes you're making right now and how to overcome them. Because if you're losing a lot of money right now, we want to stop that first, right? Phase number 2 and 3 about the most powerful chart reading techniques that I've been utilizing since the 1950s. Now, I wasn't born in the 1950s, but I actually went back and back tested it that far, these techniques. And then phase number 4 is all about my trading system there. So, yeah, I guarantee it's going to really help you out there. So, whenever I'm looking at the markets, guys, I'm always looking at these sort of phases through here, right? And I'm trying to say, okay, what's the buyers, what's the sellers? Because if you look at through here, right, who's really winning, right? Who's winning through here? This is the selling, and this is the buying, right? We had a little bit of a flat period through there, and then we had this buying period through, right? So if we had a look at this period through here, who's really winning? We're not too quite sure, right? Because we had this strong selling leg down, then we had this strong buying leg. I'm not too quite sure, right? I'm not too quite sure. And so that's why, like, for me personally, guys, I'm always trying to look for that type of a pattern in the markets there. And as you can see, guys, whenever I'm looking at the markets, I'm trying to, my number one trading pattern that I look for all the time is this type of pattern here, right? Up and then sideways. Look at that there. And then guess what? Whenever we get a very clear, what I call the L-shaped pattern, we tend to get a good move through here. So this is what's called my setup. And then I wrap it around with some trading rules, an exact entry candle, and all that sort of stuff to make sure I can really sniper in. So this is 80% of what I look for. And then I use another 20% like, I use a higher time frame as well too to make sure I'm trading with the big trend as well. And there's a few other 20% in there. But again, guys, if you'd like to learn more information about that trading system, and how it all works, then I think it's that. Go to johnsfreetraining.com. And so the reason why I brought that up to you guys today is because, and going now, I just went down a rabbit hole of how my number one trading pattern and how it works. The reason why I bring that up to you guys now is because, one, I understand that when the market goes through these phases, right, we understand what type of phase are we in. Are we in a moving phase, or are we likely to be in one of those pullback / sideways phases, right? Because we end up going through these phases. And so right now, we've had a very big move up. And so looking at the Dow Jones, we're probably going to go through a sideways. And the reason why that's important, because in the back of your mind, now in the back of your mind, you must be saying, okay, if I'm trading the Dow Jones today, I must understand that we could be getting a lot of volatility here. So me trying to capture that next big move, and if I think that Dow Jones is going to skyrocket to 50,000, it may go to 50,000. But on a probability basis, we need a bit of time, a bit of a sideways movement to refuel again, right? To rest again, to get ready to go again, right? If I go back to my gold trade, I'll share with this is an example of gold, right? So if I go back to my gold trade, and the reason why I bring this up, because I'm trying to share with you guys like how I see all this see all that sideways movement before what? So we had all this sideways, see all this, it just really went sideways, didn't it? Now that sideways movement was what? That was 3 months of sideways movement. 3 months of sideways movement, and then guess what? Then we had a big up move, right? So that's the reason why when I was getting into gold and I shared it with YouTube, I was always saying we're getting ready for a big move, because I saw how much of this sideways movement, how much refueling we've actually done. All right. So remember, when the market goes up like that, we're going through a using energy phase. Okay. But then we need a L-shaped pattern to see who's more dominant, but then we need to make sure that we have a lot of this, what's called now a refueling phase. And so with the stock market here, guys, and with the Dow Jones, you wouldn't expect, you're going to get a lot more volatility. You can see, look at it, up and down, up and down. You're going to expect that a lot more. Okay, you're going to expect a lot more of this through here, probably for the next few months through there. Looking at the S&P 500, and the S&P 500, as you can see, that when looking at this S&P 500, you can see we had this very big move up, strong move down, and now we've had this move up. I don't think this is not ready now to go for another really big move, right? It's just the market's actually tired. And so if you're like, oh, here we go, we're going to go up, we're going to go down, not too fast, not too soon, okay? And again, we just had a very big move down, I believe. Now, what ends up happening, guys, is the unfortunate thing is what I just said there, you're probably going to get 20% of the time, maybe even 10% of the time, this thing just goes for another really big move, right? And then you take that 10% of the time, and then you're like, oh man, I should have jumped on that. And that's where, like, if you're not using some sort of trading edge for your trade, if you're going to get it, if your trading approach is, I think the market's going to go up today, so I'm going to buy it, you are going to get run over big time, right? We need to have some sort of trading edge. Well, we need to have an edge, right? And this is always the biggest thing about trading. This is why most of you guys are probably not, most of you guys right now that are watching this video, 12 months from now, you're not going to be around. You're not going to be around watching this video. The reason why is because if you actually want to be, what is a professional trader? We got to think about that. John, I want to be a professional full-time trader. Okay, well, let's actually see, what does he do? Well, he has an edge, and he likes to trade that edge. And he also understands that he needs to require some patience. And if he wants to start trading some other things out there, he doesn't really do that most of the time. 95% of the time, he's just really focused on his edge. And he's got to sit back and he's got to learn to be patient and maybe not take a trade every day. Maybe sometimes there's going to be a few weeks without any trades, right? We reverse engineer that back. So if you want to be a successful trader, we must start to become that person, right? We must become, how do successful traders work? And then when we start to become that person, okay, a successful trader has an edge, okay? There's 1,000 edges out there. For me personally, I'm teaching you my edge, which is the L-shaped pattern. This is one that I personally believe in because it's so simple, and also it allows me to potentially capture on some really big moves, just like gold. And so they have an edge. They learn. They need to. A professional trader is also understanding of the market cycles, meaning your trading cycles, right? So 1 month you might have a lot of really good trades come up, and then maybe the next month there's not that many opportunities because the market doesn't present them to you. He understands that. He understands he needs to require some discipline. If I actually want to be an actual good trader, I need to be disciplined to this process. Otherwise, if I'm not going to require discipline, then I'm kidding myself to this, right? I must require some consistency around that. Every day I'm looking at it's a routine. It's a consistency every single day, right? It's getting up at the same time, looking at the markets at the same time, looking for the same type of trading patterns and so on and so forth. So that's how, if you're trading the markets and you want to be a professional trader, then we must become that, right? What does a professional trader do? And then we must become that. Now, the biggest thing for you guys is that you're impatient, you have FOMO, you don't have really any edge, or you might have an edge, but you might have 13 edges, right? And that's where you're probably going wrong, right? So we just then you got to reverse engineer back. So, okay, then, well, if I actually want to be here 12 months from now, which most of you guys won't be, but if I actually want to be here 12 months from now, then I need to start, I need to start to become those types of people who do well out of that. And it's not the actual trading system part, right? The trading system part is probably 5% of it. Give me a good trading system and I'll do really well. Okay, here's a really good trading system, but you might have to be patient. There might be a whole month with no trades. Now your thought is oh, well, John, I'm here to make money, not to sit around and what? No trades for a whole month? What? How am I supposed to make money from that? I'm here to make money. And then now your thought goes down the window, or goes down this path of what you think trading is all about, right? So this is where trading can become it's this whole thing I'm talking about here is the reason why most people have a hard time when it comes to the trading market, right? So same thing for the S&P 500, guys. A little move up through here, a lot more volatility. I don't expect to see big move up, big move down for the S&P 500. I do expect to see this thing not really doing much, and then not really much until around that August, possibly even out through September, which does make sense because that's around the election or coming up to the election time. So something really big is coming, guys. Something really big is coming. And now the good thing about what I just said there, and the same for the Nasdaq, right? Same thing, bit of a pullback here. The good thing about what I'm talking about here, guys, is that those who have a bit of patience, right? Those who understand that we're now going through that season now where we're probably not going to get big moves. Now I'm talking about the indices here, right, guys? On individual stocks, right? This is where, for me personally, on individual stocks, there's going to be some really incredible moves. We just got to know how to identify the patterns. So when we're scanning the market every day, and that's what I do, I actually scan the markets every day using the scans to look for my opportunities. Because as you guys know, thousands of stocks out there, some stocks are making big moves up, big moves down, and so on and so forth. And so those who are patient right now, I promise you guys, those who are patient right now are going to reap the rewards. If you're patient over the next couple of months here, right, and you're watching and you also understand what I'm not just watching, right, but you understand what you're actually looking for. If you don't know what you're actually looking for in a high quality setup, amazing trades are going to go straight past you, right? Just like my gold trade. My gold trade was just a system trade, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful A quality system trade, right? It's nothing new to me here. But if you don't even know what a high quality setup looks like, and that's why I actually have my coaching program, then the whole thing about that is that there's amazing high quality trades that are going straight past you, and because you don't even know what you're looking for, right? It's like if you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. See me, I'm always looking for that type of pattern, because guess what? Just like gold, just the exact same trade that happened with gold, it's actually happening right now on a few other markets right now and a few stocks out there. So looking at the Nasdaq, guys, we're probably getting this whole sideways movement through here. So again, just a lot of volatility all the way out to August, through to August, maybe even to September, and then we're probably likely to get a big move. So just if you are trading the indices, guys, just understand that we're in this type of phase through here on the daily charts anyway. And we're probably going to continue seeing this type of action through here. So no big crash, no big bull market, at least on the indices when it comes to that as well too. So let's go look at silver and gold. And the silver price, the silver ones, I'm actually really excited about the silver one, because if I bring up my charts through here, you can see what's happening all through here. Right, let's bring up this one here. Actually, I'll go to this one. This one here is the weekly charts. So you can see what's happening here on the weekly charts. I honestly believe, guys, we went for a big move through here. So I honestly believe we're probably going to spend at least another few more weeks going sideways out of silver. We had a very big move up, but there could be something really exciting if we continue to squeeze up through here, guys. Right through here, and then we get a breakout like through there on silver. There could be some really big, amazing opportunities through there. And by the way, up. See how I just drew the L-shaped pattern, because that's what I'm looking for, guys, is the L-shaped pattern. Now again, don't just trade the L-shaped pattern. Actually, it is a powerful pattern, right? But with the L-shaped pattern, that's my setup. Then I need to have my checklist and my exact entry candle of what I'm looking for from there. So, but that's what I'm looking for there. And then, and again, guys, this is, look at this, strong up. What's that? That's the L-shaped pattern, right? Oh, look at that big move. You see what I'm saying here, right, guys? So, for me personally, I like being patient, waiting for the L-shaped pattern, or this is the upside down L-shaped pattern. The L-shaped pattern is like that. The upside down L-shaped pattern is like this through here. So that's what I'm seeing through there. Now, when it comes to the mining sector, guys, there's actually some really good stocks out there for the mining sector. Like, for example, AG. AG is a stock that I'm watching right now. And the reason why I'm watching it is because I believe that AG has now started to turn the table on its trend. And I believe this could be the start of something really big here. So we can see here that we actually came down. This here was that level through there to there, right? And then we came down through here. So for me personally, if we can get AG to come back down towards these levels all through here, I believe we're probably going to start to pick back up. I believe this is the first leg up in a very big bull market. But we need this pullback we're getting right now, or this drop in the market, there's probably going to be a bit of a move to the upside. Same for stocks like AEM, right? And this is where we don't want to chase it. We don't want to chase the market and FOMO, right? And as you guys know, that's always the hardest part about trading, isn't it? It's like our emotions get into the way, and because we're in this fearful state, right, of either having a loss, which causes, or FOMO, like fear of missing out, then we start to go down this rabbit hole of not trading well, right? So, and then we make stupid decisions, like trying to jump on AEM right now. Remember I said before, when we do this, after a period of time, we get what? We get the drop, and that's like, for you guys that have been watching me, you guys know this is how I called the stock market drop. And this is how I called the gold and silver and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm looking through there, guys, when it comes to the... So that's what I'm expecting through there, guys. So just make sure you don't have your FOMO cap on. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is, just to finish off here, is what I talked about there, guys, is, as you can see through this session here, is that like people want to make good money from trading, right? But then you just keep doing what you've been doing, right? If we can sit back and just say, okay, then how do professional traders approach the markets, right? What is the common characteristics? And it has nothing to do with the trading system. You know, it has really everything to do with how you're approaching the markets, right? Because there's 1,000 different approaches out there that really do work. And so it all comes back down to once you start to become that person, right? Once you start to become more consistent at looking at the markets, looking for the same type of patterns, looking for the same type of setups, having the same type of risk, right? That consistency, the discipline to be trading those setups, the patience to wait around, and like when we start to overlay that, once you start to become that type of person, and you're doing it every day, then you'll start to reap the rewards. But when you're not, then you're not through there, right? So the biggest thing that I do say about trading, guys, one of the things that's actually really helped me a lot is everything is about making good decisions, right? We want to make good decisions. And so, like, if you listen to Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins, stuff like that, which I'm a huge fan of, especially like going back through my cancer days, like, you know, like Tony Robbins has been such a blessing to me in my life, like going from like, you know, almost $500,000 just to get back above break even, $500,000 in the hole, to, like even like going through cancer and the doctor gave me 6 months to live. And this was back in 2008, 2009. Like Tony Robbins has been amazing. And one of the things he's always talking about is the type of state, right? And if you look at him, Tony Robbins is all about state management when it comes to his athletes, right? Like you look at all, the number one thing he's always talking about is like, what sort of state are you approaching things at? And so the thing about trading for me is I'm a very energetic type of move person, right? So the thing for me is that trading is all about making good decisions, right? And not be able to miss opportunities. So the best thing to do is to try to get into that, what I call a nice, relaxed, peaceful state. You're not fearful of anything. You're not worried about anything. You're not worried about, there's no FOMO. There's nothing like that going on in the markets. In your own life, where you just get yourself into a nice relaxed state. This is where like potentially like a bit of journaling, a bit of meditating, some sort of ritual behind the scenes to try to relax. If you see a lot of things on YouTube and stuff like that, you may see like action, things are moving around. It's not, you want to try to get yourself into a nice, good, relaxed state, because it's in that relaxed state where you're not worried about anything, you're just clearing your mind, you're focused on what's happening right now. It's in those moments when you're nice, you're peaceful, you're calm, you actually end up making really good decisions. And if we do that continuously, like the consistency of doing that day in, day out, before you know it, by the end of the year, you're like, oh, I've actually had a really good year, because every day we've made those smaller good decisions to say, no, I'm not going to get into that trade, or yes, I'm going to get into this trade. Yes, I'm going to cut this loss short. Yes, I'm going to hold on to this profit. Because it's not a matter of focus on the money. It's mainly focus on trading techniques. And so the big thing I really want to share with you, just to finish today off, is just try to do whatever you can to add a little bit of discipline to your life. And especially if you want to trade the markets successfully, it's all about you making good decisions. Now, if you are trading the markets and you've got the kids in the background, you've got the TV on, you may even have some sort of podcast going on in the background, and you're looking at the market at the exact same time, I guarantee you are not making good decisions. Why? You are just all over the place. But if you can be in a nice, calm place, it's quiet, and you're looking at the markets, and you just focus and it's just very peaceful and quiet, then you can start to make really good decisions, right? You can start to see good opportunities, and also you can make good opportunities of not to let that FOMO kick into place. So the best thing I can say is that if you seriously want to become really, really, really good at trading, the number one thing that's really helped me out is just that, getting myself into a nice, peaceful, relaxed place, and everything's just quiet, and I'm just focusing on the markets, and I'm slowing down. I'm just like, okay, what's this chart telling me right now? Okay, I'm looking at the banking sector right now. I'm looking at the energy sector right now. I'm looking at, the mining sector right now. I'm looking at all these different stocks. I'm like, okay, what is this stock actually telling me right now? And then I start to apply my analysis, right? And I start to look at the trend analysis, and I start to look at the L-shaped patterns, and I'm like, okay, then what's really going on here? And the more I do that personally, guys, and have a continuation of doing that every day, the better trading decisions to make. Meaning, like, there's a lot of times where I will actually see opportunities because I'm not scatterbrained, right? Because again, if you've got things happening in the background, you've got a podcast or the news on the back on the side, and then you're looking at the markets, then guess what? Then you're at a place where now you're probably not making really good decisions, right? So just try to step back. Again, if you want to be successful at this, at least start to generate some sort of good income, even if it's, say a 6-figure income per year, and then eventually start to do the 7 figures. One of the best things I do say is looking at my mentors and what I've done in my trading career. It's been one of the biggest blessings out there. So for me personally, it's always continued. I always notice, guys, that if I'm rushing around, go, and then I might be listening to something in the background, like it might be a podcast or a YouTube video, right? And so if it is like that, then what's probably going to happen is you're probably going to be making a lot of mistakes, right? So just try to have a morning ritual of that through there. That's the reason why, guys, for me personally, I only trade half an hour a day, right? Because it's very, very, very difficult to look at the markets for 6, 7, 4, 5, 6 hours a day and not start to get out of state, right? So for me personally, if I can get myself into state, look at the markets for half an hour or so per day, make your good decisions within that state, right? Because I can actually stay there. And then off, I find I make much better decisions there for me. For me personally, I used to trade a lot of hours, but now I just make much better decisions when I'm in that type of state.